Today's talk is about how to get speaking gigs at national, state, and local lawyer events. Let's start out number one. If you want to get a local event for the County Bar Association, the best way of doing that is making a connection with the executive director of the county bar. Every county bar, well, most of the bigger county bars will have an executive director. This is the person who plans the events for the year. If you go to the executive director and you say, I'd like to speak for you, what they're going to do is brush you off. They're going to say, well, we're booked solid for this year, but maybe in 2017 or 2018, that's not a good way of doing it. The best way of planning a speaking gig with the County Bar Association is to just go ahead and plan it. Pick a date, pick a location, and pick a subject. And once everything is booked and confirmed, then you go to the executive director and you say, I've got this great event. I'd like to offer it free to your members, and we'll also give you continuing legal education credits. I'll pay for that. So you basically package everything so it's already done. And then typically about 90% of the time, what the executive director will say to you is, hey, sounds great. We'd love to do your event. And you, by the way, you make sure that the date is one that fits the schedule of the County Bar Association so they don't have anything else going on for that date or time. So you've picked that date in advance to accommodate their schedule. Typically what happens then is the executive director will then send out an email blast to their 1,000 members, 5,000 members, whatever the size of the organization is, and you've got them promoting and endorsing your event. And so you're going to have people showing up because you are the speaker that has been selected by the county bar. And you can do this on as little notice as possible. You could even say, 3 weeks from today or 2 weeks from today, I have an event I'd like to speak for your organization. So let's get into the nitty-gritty a little bit. A couple of the events I do, one is called the Jury Project. And this is an event that's about use of a focus group. You put on a focus group of an upcoming trial, and then you do a video and audio transmission of the jury deliberation. So the attorneys who attend the event actually get to see everything as the jury deliberations are taking place and see how irrational and crazy their comments and thoughts are. That is a very cool event, and that's something that very few people do. The other thing that I do is sometimes back-to-back events. One event I have is called How to Get Your Lawyer Website on the First Page of Google. So that's one event. And then the Jury Project. So I'll go to the executive director, and you could pick any county bar that's within, let's say, your region, within 90 miles. You go to them, you tell them about your events, they'll book you, you get their endorsement, they promote the event, and the expenses are minimal because what you do is you say, I'm going to videotape this event. You go to a videographer and you say, in exchange for giving you an endorsement at the event, I'd like you to videotape it. Typically what they'll do is free of charge, they'll agree to videotape it. Then you get video clips of everything that was done at the event, your speech, the whole thing, and then the videographer can break those videos into segments of about 2 to 3 minute clips. You put them on your website, you've got great content. Share your story. In New York City, I had an event, how to get your law firm's website on the first page of Google. I invited about 1,900 plaintiffs, personal injury lawyers, and on the day of the event, not a single person showed up. So there was a videographer, and he was about to turn around and just go home, and he said, you know what? Let's do this anyway. Let's give the speech. It's about a 45-minute speech. He videotaped the speech, and then I broke it into segments of about 2 to 3 minute clips. And then I had maybe about 10 different clips that I could use for social media, send out every single day. So in other words, turning a lemon into lemonade is what I tried to do, and you could do the same thing. Even if you give a speech to just 2 or 3 people, it really doesn't matter because if you're videotaping your content, you're creating new content for social media and your website, even if very few people attend. So those are my tips. Now, the one thing I would definitely recommend in advance of your speaking event, ask the person who's going to introduce you to read a copy of your book. So if you have a book, a white paper, whatever it could be, a guide, ask them to read it and introduce you with the book. So for example, I've read John's book, The Power of a System. It's dynamite. Everyone in this room should be getting and read this book. You want your introduction to be based upon your book. After the event, you want you want the organizer of the event to give you a written testimonial. The written testimonial would be, John spoke at this event, he was dynamite, and get into as much detail as possible. What I do is I'll take those testimonials and put them on a dedicated web page on my website, so a speaking page, so other people can see, other organizers can see that I've spoken at other events, and here are the testimonials about that. Now, what this has translated into for me is national speaking events. So last summer in Fort Worth, I spoke at PILMA's national event about lawyer-to-lawyer referral-based marketing. In February of this year, I'll speak for the National Summit of the National Trial Lawyers Organization about the business of law. And in November of this year, I'm speaking for the New York State Bar Association about the use of videotape depositions at trial. So all of this stuff, really what it sort of builds momentum. When other people see that there's statewide and local organizations that are endorsing you as a speaker, they want to book you for your next gig. And it sort of just builds on itself, and you get a legion of fans growing from each event. Now, one very good tip I have for you from every event is you want to have a free giveaway. That free giveaway could be your book. So you say to people, look, I've got this book, and this is a tip from Larry Bodine, and if people give me their card, basically I'll give you the free book in exchange. What you're doing is you're collecting contact information of the people who've seen you speak, who want to get to know you better, and then you follow up with them, whether that be by an email weekly newsletter, a print monthly newsletter, whatever it is, but you're following up with all the people who have seen your speech and you want to do business with. So those are my top tips for building a speaking business with statewide and local lawyer organizations.